This is a podcast from Rover.
The Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. You're with the Editor-in-Chief and we're live. It's great to have you company this morning. Welcome. I'm Duncan, Garner, and today we focus on the big banks and when a Kiwi's likely to get a better deal from the big banks, which are all Aussie owned and between them control more than 90% of the New Zealand market. So last year we saw their combined profits go past $7 billion for the first time. The Commerce Commission here has said it's time that Kiwi's got a better deal. So where is it? When is it coming? What's it going to look like? It's called open banking, which would open up the market to new players and make it easier for us to move banks and get better deals. But where is it? The banks are in cahoots with each other, and without some aggressive competition for the major banks, then Kiwi consumers are missing out. So we'll look at this. Sam Stubbs is their inconvenient truth. He'll join us shortly and talk about this. He continues to call them out, doesn't he? Jump on the YouTube or TikTok. The links are all here. Have a look at that. Leave us a comment as well. We also have Kiwi Olympic surfer Billy Stairmand on the show today as surfing takes centre stage for the first time at the Olympics. And the man behind the charter schools movement reveals how badly our kids are doing in the state system. We'll look at that shortly. Brace yourself for that. It's news time. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It's Grace Cocker. Good morning.
The PM is being accused of dragging New Zealand into the US-China conflict. In an interview with the Financial Times, Christopher Luxon suggested the Defence Force could be used by AUKUS as a force multiplier. Former National Leader Don Brash warns against picking a side.
If China were to cut us off from a market point of view, for say logs or dairy or kiwi food or whatever, New Zealand would be up the creek without a paddle.
And there are fears for the country's international reputation. Calls are growing for Shane Jones to be removed as Resource Minister after Newsroom revealed it was his team who set up a meeting with mining companies. Spokesperson Augusta McCasey-Pickard says it's not a good look.
New Zealand is known for having really high levels of integrity in our political system, and we really think that this is going to potentially damage that.
Women considering a termination are being urged to access as much information as possible. Warnings are being raised about medical abortion reversal. Dr. Gillian Gibson from the College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists says it's unsafe.
There's certainly no evidence to support the prescription of abortion reversal medication.
The future of comedy rock duo Tenacious D is uncertain following a bad taste joke at a Sydney gig. Jack Black has canned the rest of his world tour, including in New Zealand, after his bandmate poked fun at the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Kyle Gass has since apologised, but the fallout continues, including being dropped by his agent. Black says all future creative plans are on hold. To sport, histories against New South Wales ahead of State of Origin 3 against Queensland tonight. The Blues have won just 2 deciders at Suncorp Stadium in 94 and 2005. Coach Michael Maguire says his players are ready.
They all understand what we're walking into and going towards, and the performance that we need.
Kick-offs after 10 p.m. England's searching for a new football manager following the resignation of Gareth Southgate. And New Zealand's confirmed their team of 195 athletes for the Paris Olympics, 9 days out from the opening ceremony. That's news and sport.
Thanks, Grace. The mining companies would have loved that, wouldn't they? Hi, it's Jonesy here. Do you want to go mining again?
So kind of funny. The spokesperson, by the way, I realised I did not read who the spokesperson is. She is actually from a climate against the fast tracks group, so I just want to disclaim that. But yeah, Shane Jones, we did ask for an interview yesterday. He turned around, one of his spokespeople, and said, well, it was a cock-up, not a conspiracy, so no interview.
Shane Jones is no to an interview?
Yes.
I mean, that's almost news itself, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Shane here. We'd like to go mining.
Garner.
Yes, please, sir. Right, the banks. We talked about the cost of living on the show yesterday, the state of skyrocketing utility bills, and a major contributor to this pain is rising interest rates, pushing the prices up in most sectors. So are banks laughing at us? Their profits steadily rise, and change is so slow to come. The Commerce Commission investigated and found that the top tier of New Zealand's banking problem is ANZ, ASB, BNZ, Westpac. They're all making more money of us than their global peers, you see. Business leader Sam Stubbs says that we are the cash cow that keeps on giving. They're laughing at us. So how are they getting away with it, and when's change coming? Sam joins us now. G'day, Sam. Nice to see you.
G'day.
We constantly talk about this, don't we? But we can't stop talking about it because they've done nothing about it.
No, it keeps on going. Like you mentioned $7 billion worth of profit. Remember, that's after tax too, mate. It was about $10 billion before tax. That's about $2,000 per New Zealander on average.
Per year.
Yeah, per year. It's a massive amount. So
it's more than some people paying their rates.
Yeah, look, it is by far the most profitable industry in the country, and it's interesting. I think the last time I looked at it, the four most profitable companies in country with the 4 biggest banks, and we're the only country in the OECD that I could find where that's the case.
Is there nowhere else where their profile fits the same around the world?
No, they are exceptionally profitable here, and I think that's because we're effectively a branch office of their Australian head offices. I mean, I do feel for the local people on the ground here. I mean, the people working in these banks are really good people. They mean well, but fundamentally they're being told by Melbourne and Sydney, look, this is a cash cow, carry on milking it.
Is it true that if you look at the ANZ profit, if you compare it to the Australian, as a like for like, ours is something like 4 times, because we're 4 times smaller, that our profit is 4 times bigger, which just shouldn't happen.
Well, the last time the banks started, basically produced what I call segmented data on where they're making money geographically. New Zealand for all of them was about 20% more profitable on a per person basis than it was in Australia.
It's across mortgages, isn't it?
It's mortgages and term deposits. Banks basically, banking's really simple, Duncan. All you do is you take term deposits and you add a margin on and you lend it out in mortgages and business lending and so on. And that's called the net interest margin. Right. Now, the net interest margin in New Zealand is higher than it is in Australia, and actually the net interest margins in New Zealand are like they're world class in a really bad way, right? Really bad way.
It's what you don't want.
They're extremely high, and the reason is, and the Commerce Commission finally used the word oligopoly when they did this, right? No one's been able to say that for fear of what the banks would come with yet.
Yes.
But basically, they've said it now. They are running an oligopoly, or you'd call it cartel pricing.
It's cartel. It's like oil companies, isn't it, in many ways?
Yeah. And so the only real way like turkeys don't vote for Christmas, mate. You're never going to get them to lower their margins, because they want to, or because it feels good, or because it's the right thing to do.
You effectively have to legislate, because otherwise you won't get buy-in, will you?
Well, there are 2 options. One is legislation, but effectively it's let's create proper competition. And so what the legislation should do, I've never been in favour of profit taxes on these things, because I think it sets a very dangerous precedent.
It does,
But you do have to open up for competition, proper competition. So we've just had, that the open banking now is starting. Effectively what we've done is we've kind of built the foundations for the house. You're not going to notice things happening dramatically and quickly, but now we've started on this journey whereby, and look, here's the big prize. The big prize is when Kiwi Bank can get really big and hairy and can start beating them up. But the real prize is when, it's interesting in New Zealand, like we have Nike, New Balance, we have Japanese cars. We don't have a Japanese bank. We don't have an American bank. We don't actually have any big gorillas coming in here and beating up the Aussies.
There are some Indian banks, but that's more development stuff, isn't it?
They're really small, small change, right? So when we're able to do number portability, when we can move our bank account the same way we can move our power, account right now, when we have that, and when you can move it to a really big gorilla, like, Bank of America, Tokyo Mitsubishi Bank, one of the really big ones, who've decided that because there's open banking, because you can now go and get market share, because you don't have to open branches in every town, right? Then you'll get competition.
No wonder the banks have all the lobbyists in Wellington still. I mean, the lobbyists are there, they're doing the business, and they are close to the politicians because it's in their interest to be, right?
Oh, absolutely. And what they've done, and this is my personal opinion, but for the longest time there, as soon as the government started to, say, listen, we want to open this up, they said, we might pull out of New Zealand. Like, come
Rio
on.
Tinto.
It's absolute rubbish. I mean, this is, and it hasn't happened. I've seen, one bank do it in my career 2 or 3 times now. So no, that won't happen. So once we have a level playing field and we get more competition in, that means that we'll get more choice. Now, what you're going to see in the interim is you're going to see a couple of small companies start up now, and they're going to start offering you debit cards.
We've seen a bit of that, haven't we?
Yeah. Companies like, Dosh, Emerge, Debut, they're all coming through now. They're awesome. They will go out and start offering actual transaction services. It'll be really hard for them to offer you a mortgage and to take term deposits because they need to be a bank and they need to be big and hairy in that regard, but they will start to show that there is actually some choice.
See, one of the answers is also Kiwi Bank getting some capital. Kiwi Bank getting some power and some grunt because they haven't got anything.
That's absolutely what they should do. So Kiwi Bank is a one-arm boxer with 4 heavyweights in the ring, right?
Isn't it? And one of them is Tyson.
Exactly. And so once they get serious money and that they can get seriously beefy, that's more competition as well.
Yeah, but when? See, if I tried to move banks today, how hard will it be?
It's going to take time, mate. Look, I think it will take 3, 4, 5 years before we start to see serious competition. We need several pieces of the law to change in terms of doing this. But listen, we're on the track now. I think, look, it's taken so long, Duncan, for the politicians to wake up to the fact that we're actually being gouged here. Like, the biggest milking operation in New Zealand is the banks. It's not Fonterra.
No, that's right. And so that you did right about that. But I wonder, in the interest, there's no interest for the banks to actually push for change here. So how does the next step come?
the law changes, the law creates a level playing field, and then competitors start looking at New Zealand saying, we can finally compete.
Are we big enough, those two
At
tracks?
the margin, yeah, we will, because look, in the old days, mate, you had to set up a branch in every town, right? But now you can do all of these things online, right? So as soon as, a big US or a big European or big Japanese bank starts to say, hey, listen, we can actually set up a website here, people can transfer very quickly, we have a competitive pricing power.
Do you think we're close to that?
3 to 5 years away is my guess, but we're starting. It's starting. The other interesting thing too, Duncan, is you're getting a whole lot more money in the economy via KiwiSaver as well. I would not be surprised if KiwiBank ends up being owned, partially by KiwiSaver funds as well.
Well, they got rid of their KiwiSaver fund, didn't they? They got rid of KiwiWealth to Fisher. Yeah,
they sold it. And look, KiwiBank for the longest time has been capital constrained. They've kind of been like a plaything for the government. It's part of it got sold to the NZ Super Fund and ACC. They gave it back to the government. Government doesn't know what to do with KiwiBank.
Why do they keep KiwiWealth? They could have used that as a...
Well, maybe, but once again, what they needed was an awful lot of money, and the government of the day is not going to stick a couple of $1 billion into KiwiBank to make it compete with the Aussies when they can spend that on schools and roads, right? Yeah. So we Kiwi saver schemes, we need to be the suppliers of capital to KiwiBank in the interim. Then ultimately you can list the company, and once you list it, you can just raise money from all over the world.
I know, but that's the perfect scenario.
It is, yeah.
But again, that's years away, isn't it?
It takes time, but Duncan, like the best time to do this was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Second best time is now, mate. Let's just get going, eh? Let's get going.
Sam Stubbs, always appreciate your time on the program, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much.
Garner.
Yeah, 0800 863 293. Leave us a message as well. All the details are on the screen in front of you. You can see that. Thanks, Sam. Right, to the Olympics we go. Surfer Billy Stairmand is heading to the Olympics alongside teammate Safi Vetti to represent New Zealand. But the Mount local isn't actually going to make it to Paris. That's because Paris isn't really known for its surf break, so the competition will be held at the infamous, let me get this right, Te Ahopora. That's where it is. It's named as one of the top 10 deadliest waves, and his name is basically loosely translate to sever the head or place of skulls. Man, that's pretty scary. And Billy joins me now. Billy, g'day, mate. Nice to have you on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Place of skulls sounds pretty scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, have you surfed this break before?
I have before. I've done a couple training trips, and it's very intimidating. It's very beautiful at the same time. Very powerful, a lot of energy over there, but I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead. Yeah,
what's your form like? How do you think you're going to go? Because this is the first time surfing's been at the Olympics, which is about time, but how do you think you'll go?
Yeah, this is actually the second time. It was in Tokyo, but obviously, it was the COVID games, as they call it, but I'm hoping for the best. I've done a lot of preparation and a lot of training and a lot of hard work, and I do like going left. I am from Raglan, so it's kind of familiar to me, but a wave like that is, so unpredictable. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What
do you expect in Tahiti? Because you're not going to be in Paris, obviously, so it'll be the Olympics away from the Olympics, won't it?
Yeah, we're basically on the other side of the world. But, yeah, it's going to be an awesome journey and an awesome trip. We fly over to Tahiti on Sunday. Unfortunately, we missed the opening ceremony in Paris, but I'm sure they'll have something on in Tahiti for us, and we actually get to stay on a cruise ship and, compete against the best. And then after our competition, hopefully we'll get a medal and we'll be able to go to, we actually fly to Paris and be amongst the team over there and support as much as we can.
I think in Tahiti you'll probably get a lounge and a big screen or something, won't you? You'll get some sort of, here we go, guys, this is what you're looking at. It's all happening in Paris.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be, some TVs around and we can support the team and, hopefully give them some mana from Tahiti, and I know they'll be doing the same for us over in Paris and here in New Zealand.
So how's Safi's form?
Yeah, Safi's been going good. We've done a couple trips together and kind of pushing each other, and obviously it's a new wave for her and a new experience for her as well. So, she's been charging and everyone's feeling pretty fit and healthy and ready to go. We've done all the hard yards now. It's kind of almost up to Mother Nature to kind of provide us with some waves now. And, we've got a few training days before the actual competition next weekend, and still a lot of hard work to do, but, looking forward to it.
Have you looked at the waves? What's been happening there? What's it looking like?
I have been, actually. I've been waking up every day, checking the surf report and checking the videos, and kind of a little bit nervous, it's all becoming real now, but, it's been very big there the last few days, actually. Some big tow days behind the jet ski and some big wave guys going over. But, the lead up to the actual competition looks pretty promising. It doesn't look very, big and scary at the moment, but yeah, you never know what the ocean can do over there, and you never know what the swells can do. So just preparing as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, who's hot? I mean, what's the main competition? Who's the hot dog?
I like to say myself, you know.
Yeah, yes, the one.
But obviously you got world champions like John Florence, Gabriel Medina. You got all the top of the top in the surf industry, and then you've got some cool variety that have gone through the ISA World Surfing Games. So you got a good diverse people, over there in Tahiti, and it's going to be a good competition, and hopefully I get enough good opportunities to get on a good run and hopefully bring home a medal for New Zealand. Well,
to people that don't understand surfing, well, I mean, what wins it? What do you need to do to win an Olympic gold medal in surfing?
Yeah, so there's 24 male and 24 female in the competition. You have heats. Heats are normally 30 minutes long, and depending on how many people you have in a heat, how many progress. So, for instance, if we have 2 people in a heat, 1 progress, so 50% chance of progressing. I think you have to win about 4 to 5 heats to become a medalist. You're judged out of 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, or the lowest, 0.1 being the lowest. And it varies on the day, the judging criteria, because of the surf conditions.
Right. So do you need to stay on the board for the longest? Is it sort of the longest ride and that sort of thing, or the tricks? Are you doing the tricks, or what is it?
Yeah, so a wave like Tahiti is just a big open barrel. So basically you're in the ocean. You're inside a wave, it's pretty kind of hard to explain. It's easier to watch it. But,
Yeah,
but how you get judged over there is basically the more time you spend in the barrel, the deeper you are, the bigger the wave. And I guess how long the wave is. The higher the score's going to be.
Now I know what to look for. Have you envisaged yourself winning? Have you got your hand on your heart and you see yourself at the medal ceremony with a gold medal around you? I mean, are you visioning this?
I am. Yeah, we do a lot of visualization as surfers, and this is my second Olympics, and I feel like I left a little bit in Tokyo. I gave it everything, but I feel like I could have done better. So, I'm looking forward to Tahiti, and I definitely want to get a medal. That's my goal. I think that's everyone's goal, but personally I think it's really achievable, and I'm going to put my best foot forward and kind of just put my head down and give it everything. Head
down, jump in that tube and ride it, mate. Ride it. Hey, good luck. Hey, we're right with you. We'll be watching out for you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, take care. Good to have you on the program.
Garner.
Yeah, 0800 863 293. The details are here. We'll talk charter schools shortly as well. Let's do 3 questions.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief. 1.
At number 1, why suddenly does the Police Minister and the Commissioner not know how many officers are heading to Australia? Because the headline spells trouble. Suddenly they can't count because, they don't want to. But records show more than 300 cops have left in recent months for bigger pay packets overseas in Australia. I don't believe one's returned. Come on, Mark Mitchell and Andrew Costa. Truth always reveals itself. Do yourselves a favour and be more upfront about what's obviously going on in front of us. It's really obvious.
2.
And number 2, tut. Which banks just screwed us? Kiwi Bank. And they put their hand up as well, to be honest. 36,000 customers have been overcharged by $7 million. Now, Kiwi Bank will face the music. I was one of them. I sent them an email 2 weeks ago and said, hey mate, why are you charging me this every month? Which sends my account into debit, which then you then charge me for again. They said, sorry mate, and they reimbursed me, only to do it again the next month. They will now face the collective music on this. Not from me, but from the authorities.
3.
Number 3, why do I rate Norm Hewitt so highly? Former All Black Norm Hewitt has died from motor neuron, but he was more than just a rugby player. This guy was legend. He owned his issues, he was upfront about his past, and he took responsibility. In all my dealings with him in Wellington, I found him amazing to deal with. Upfront, accountable, and a thinker, and a role model, and now New Zealand's worse off for losing this guy. To his family, may he rest in peace. I'm very sorry for your loss. He really was an incredible man.
Garner.
Okay, so the government has given the green light for the establishment of up to 35 charter schools, and $153 million of funding has been set aside to make it happen. Charter schools are not required to teach the national curriculum. They give educators greater autonomy, control, and they aim to raise overall educational achievement, especially among underachieving and disengaged students, which there are so many in New Zealand. The schools are subject to high levels of monitoring and accountability. I support them because the failure in our state system is high, and sometimes not every kid fits into this one system, right? So we must try other ways, and we can't give up on them. I've sat here for years questioning the failure of some schools, the failure of our curriculum to adapt, and the rates of failure amongst our boys, and especially Māori boys. Simply, it's got to change. How bad is it? And why must we seek other ways. Alwyn Poole has run successful charter schools before. He's putting his hand up to do it again, and I'm with him. Good on him. He joins us now. Alwyn, g'day, mate. Nice to have you on the program.
Thanks, Duncan. Really nice to be here.
Yeah, we've got a problem, haven't we? A real problem with achievement, haven't we?
Someone I respect greatly said to me 2 days ago that she believes that our education system is near collapse. I guess one thing that I've tried to do over the last 10 years now is tell people, and they're always surprised. So, for instance, our top 30 schools, our students, top 30 high schools, our students from those schools leave, 87% of them leave with UE. Our bottom 30 schools is 2.7%.
The bottom 30 schools in New Zealand, no one's passing.
Average. No one.
So
there are a lot with zero.
So 97% failure on average across those bottom schools.
To get UE, which is the qualification that kids should be aiming at.
God, because we aren't even getting NCEA level 1 in some instances.
And again, it's
let's be honest, it's not hard.
Well, you trip over and hit your head and you get some credit.
Exactly.
It's the usual suspects. It's our Māori kids, it's our Pacifica kids. 36% of Pacifica kids in New Zealand fully attending school in term 4 last year. 36%.
And what ages are these kids?
Well, that's throughout. That's from year 1 to 13.
So 63 odd percent or whatever it is.
Yeah, not attending fully.
Where are they? What are they doing? Why are they so disengaged?
We have 10,000 kids in New Zealand last year who weren't enrolled anywhere. No one knows where they are. This is a genuine crisis.
I'll stop you right there. 10,000 kids not enrolled in school.
Any school at all.
Well, that's illegal, isn't it?
It is illegal. They can't be found.
Who's chasing them? No one.
No. And that doesn't count homeschoolers because they have to register. But it was interesting to have Sam on, and he's doing wonderful things.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful things. We won't really get anywhere until that it's now 40%, that bottom 40% of our kids are getting good education, and it has a huge impact on everything. It has an impact, if we want to talk about our country, on productivity.
Well, you look at those PISA numbers and you go through them across every level. We've gone backwards. We're lower. We're achieving lower rates now than we were in 2003, 4, 5, 6.
But we're also the country in the world, or the OECD country, with the most disparity between the kids who do well and the kids who don't.
So the ones that are doing well, let's celebrate them. They're doing really well.
Absolutely,
they are almost overachievers.
Yeah.
That's what people would call them. I hate that term, but that's what they're doing.
Yep.
But the bottom is gnarly, isn't it?
Oh, it's really gnarly, and it feeds through to the amount of 18 to 25s not in education, employment or training. Then it feeds through to the supermarkets, etc., raiding the what we used to call lower decile schools for the people to work. And so 16-year-olds are leaving school to take those jobs. They end up in a low-paid minimum wage job for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, they never get out of it. So we've got 12% youth unemployment.
Yep.
We've got record numbers of not in education, training, or any form of job or any sort of form of other training.
Yep.
So we're talking maybe 70,000 kids. It's been as high as that, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is, and it's concentrated in certain areas. I lived in the Bay of Islands for 6 of the last 8 years. Passionate about the far north. And it's the worst province in New Zealand by a significant margin for all education and employment stats.
Now, why is that?
Well, I think there's a range of things. The schools aren't great. I think there's only one good academic school in the whole far north.
What's that?
Small Christian school. Goodness, I know it.
So whangaro boys, girls is no good. Kitty no
again,
good.
They're probably microcosms for what you just said. There are kids in those schools who are doing fantastically well.
It's so important, isn't it?
But the range from the top to the bottom in those schools, and we have, I know they're probably sick of me saying it, but we have a lot of schools that celebrate sport in New Zealand. And so 50% of the Māori boys in New Zealand in single-sex boys' education are involved in what are called the Super 8 schools. So that's Tauranga boys, Rotorua boys, Hamilton, Napier, Gisborne, New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and there's one other.
Rotorua?
Yep, Rotorua. So Rotorua boys, for instance, they lose more than 30% of their kids before they turn 17.
Say that again?
they lose more than 30%. So do Tauranga boys.
Where are they going? Where are the kids going? They just leave school.
Well, they don't have great records for where they go. I mean, the university entrance for leavers, and that's the important one, not their cohort, not their survivors at year 13. For Rotorua boys is 14.3%.
How many boys are getting NCEA level 1? That's the old fifth form, for those who are confused.
It's lower for boys than it is for girls, and by quite a margin, about 10%. So that's barely addressed in many ways.
So how will the charter schools address this? Having charter schools set up will mean what?
First of all, I think we've got to acknowledge for a significant period of time it will be a minor intervention, because at the most they're talking 50 schools. We've got 2,500 schools in New Zealand.
It's actually nothing. It's a pilot.
But you can learn from that pilot.
We've done a pilot though.
Yeah, but it kind of got cut off at the knees by Ms. Ardern and Mr. Hipkins.
And Willie Jackson, who actually had a charter school himself. That's what
correct.
makes me laugh. is that there were pockets in the Labour Party who actually supported and set themselves up a charter school.
Well, that's right. And I think from that last government, to me, the most disappointing people were actually the Labour Party Māori caucus.
Yeah, Willie Jackson co. I agree.
Yep. Because they had a real opportunity to push for improvement for Māori in education. And they just didn't do it.
And he'd signed up to it. He'd received funding for it.
Correct.
He was doing it. He had at their opening, he had Labour Party MPs there supporting him.
So the biggest thing that charters, well, there are two things. One is they can improve the lives of the kids that they're going to be working with. It's important that people understand that a lot of the things that you said are accurate about the model, but then a lot of the next level stuff that people put out, like people are in it for profit. There is no profit in this model. The margins are far too small.
That's what the unions say. Oh, you're doing it. You're doing it for your own reasons. You're profiteering from education. This is wrong. But Labour's always stood, and the unions always stand against profiteering in anything.
Yes, but you make profit from education if you're a Microsoft. You make profit from education if you're an architect, a builder, all that sort of stuff. But the charter school thing isn't a profit-making model.
It's just not enough money, no.
No, that's correct. So kind of forget that one. So the schools can educate the kids that come to them extremely well. The second thing they can do, and people like Nathan and Yvette Jury, who are going to set up St. Stephen's, they can show, as they've done for Manukua in Palmerston North, and that's a top 20 school in New Zealand.
Yeah, they're educationists. The juries, they know what they're doing.
They're brilliant.
Yeah, they are.
So they can show everyone else, hey, this can be done. And that's the important thing for me for charter schools.
Is the curriculum in our state schools just way off target? And I find it's not interesting to our boys. I've got a number of boys that I know in the system, plus my own. They couldn't give a stuff what's going on at school. They're bored shitless.
Correct. And it's not the curriculum. Actually, the New Zealand curriculum isn't that much of a problem.
So what's wrong then?
The way that the schools apply it. And so I write a model myself based on the New Zealand curriculum that boys do find interesting. The girls find interesting.
Yeah.
That Māori kids find interesting. Pacifica kids find interesting.
How they are being taught some old-fashioned techniques and old-fashioned ways, and they've been told to remember this for the exams later on in the year.
Yeah.
It's crap.
Oh, yeah. You've got to have huge creativity. You've got to have kids. I mean, my learning statement is that all students can develop exceptional skills and knowledge sets, all students, with the expert teaching, coaching and mentoring, significant purposeful practice, and boys can adapt to that really well.
Why is it
and opportunities to express.
Exactly. So why are charter schools seen as so controversial by some? Because I just see them as a necessary part of a wider education offering.
I mean, my challenge to the teacher unions this time, first of all, is that no one's going to believe the things that they said last time.
Yep.
So last time, one of their main mantras was, we don't need them, we've got a world-class education system.
Come on.
No one believes that anymore.
It's like the world-class farm act. No, it never existed.
So they're saying, well, 153 million is a waste of money, and basically it would solve all the problems in the state system. It's well less than 1% of the government's education spend, so don't talk nonsense. It would provide, I think, 700 teacher aides for 2,500 schools if it was spent that way. But it's not a binary choice. So my challenge to them is don't waste your time banging on for 5 or 6 years against 50 schools. No one will believe you.
Yeah.
Improve your teachers.
Yes.
Improve the state system.
When will your schools be live and ready to go?
Well, we've got to get approved, and that is a big deal. I think the system, as I see that they're setting it up now, is really fair. It's really good. I've put together a very good group of people. We've got 3 locations to apply for. But we have to apply well. We have to get through.
There's a question here from David Scott who says to me, Duncan, why are we allowing LGBT Pride stuff in schools? Sexual perversion doesn't belong in schools. What's your reaction to that?
I think the sexuality education that the ministry under the last government has put through is not a good thing. It doesn't respect family values. It was pushed through pretty secretly, really. What you used to be able to do was, if you were a parent and you disagreed with what was going to be taught, you would be informed and you allowed your child to step aside. This was done really insidiously, where the sexuality education now can be in science, it can be in English.
The schools have approached us about it. They always send emails. They tell us what's going on,
and that's cool. But I think at the ministry level, that's the issue, where this was pushed through and boards are told you have to do this. It's hard to tell.
Not all schools are doing it. They don't. It's not compulsory.
Yes, it is.
It is compulsory?
Yes.
It's not compulsory to attend it?
No, but it's really hard now because kids are going to go, well, Mum, I can't go to science, I can't go to English, if you want me to avoid these things. So I think a lot more consultation needs to go on with the families, and I think a lot of that education actually belongs in the home. And to me, that's a big deal.
Well, it depends who's teaching them, and you just don't know whose values are they, and what are they telling your kids.
Correct, and you do have to respect the values of the family. I mean, the family is more important than the school. I think that's a big deal, but a school is important as well.
Well, good luck. I'm with you on this, so all the very best.
Hey, thank you so much.
You'll do well.
I appreciate being on.
You're very welcome, very welcome.
Garner.
Okay, Duncan, Kids in the Hood, this is what Took says, are working to help out at home. It started during COVID life, they never returned. Go for gold, Billy, says Moana. And James said, my business is about to switch from Westpac to Kiwibank. Once it's finalised, I will look into how I can also switch. Right, good morning to you.
It's the Slam Dunk.
So as a journalist for the last 29 years, I've always tried to stay as independent and as unattached to everything in society, really. It's the best way to stay truly independent. And I've taken it seriously. I've never joined any movements or protests. I've never belonged to a political party, never. And I've even been careful with what sort of friendships, I have even. I have not been officially part of any school board, any movement. The only movement I've joined up with is BBM, Dave Natale's Brown Butterbean movement. I'm a trustee on there because I think he does good work. He asked me to be involved, and I've been involved for a number of years. I'm in his corner, and I've been upfront about that. Now, though, I've been asked to join a board, Alwyn Poole's board, around setting up charter schools, the establishment of 3 charter schools in Auckland and Northland. And I've said yes. I've had 4 kids in the state schooling system. I have 2 currently in it. They're doing well, but for years I've spoken about the curriculum, about engagement and disengagement in schools, and it's worried me. And I'm now worried that boys are disconnected with their schools and they're bored with the approach that's offered. So I've said, I'll get involved. Truancy remains a huge issue. These kids have so much access to information through digital devices. I wonder if school bores them and can't excite them and make it relevant anymore. 20% of our 15-year-olds are basically illiterate in our schools. They can't read or write. 20%. So are we worried about that? I am. Not all kids fit the one-size-fits-all approach, in my view. Some kids are simply not academically inclined. They may want to join the army, fly to the moon, make rockets, or, I don't know, clip nails. Who knows what they want to do? But they may have a obsession with boat building or designing houses. You just don't know. This is where charter schools come in, you see. They allow the kids who might be failing in the traditional state system to sign up and give education another go under a different roof and another system, under different teachers with a different approach, who might actually inspire them. You just don't know. But not all kids fit into that state system. And I accept that some state schools are nailing it at the very top end. They're doing really well, as Alwyn Poole said, and some are doing a great job. But this is not about them. This is about the ones that aren't doing so well. Some schools are just alarmingly poor. 97% on average are failing kids. 97% failure rate in the bottom schools. That's a huge number. 97% failure across those bottom 20 schools, 30 schools in New Zealand. So only 3% of kids are passing. Shit, this should be alarming you. Is your kid in one of those schools and are you concerned about it? Let me know. Should we just sit here and do nothing about those kids? Well, I've said no, we've got to do something. I accept not all charter schools will be successful, but I do think we need to widen our offering. This is a pilot, up to 50 schools, big deal. 153 million sounds like a lot, but I'm sorry, education's like $18 billion spend, it's nothing. If I see something in the charter school stuff that when I'm there that worries me and I can't accept it, I'll resign and blow the whistle. And I'll be really clear about that. Willie Jackson, as I said in his Māori MPs, supported this stuff. And then they had to pull the pin on it because they were Labour MPs and it was their approach not to support it. What hypocrisy, and it stinks. Charter schools and unions will never see eye to eye, and basically the unions see this as threatening the current model. But this can be done without the aggro and the opposition. Surely we can do it without. We can do it without this group think that everything is bad on one side and everything's great on the other. It's really just two ideas coexisting side by side. Surely they can live side by side and exist without the noise and the aggro. Thousands of schools in New Zealand. And this is just 35 schools doing it differently. If anything, it's an experiment. We've got to strive for something better in New Zealand. It's worth trying for and it's worth striving for. My own kids won't be part of this. I'm giving my time and whatever I can contribute to this whole thing because I worry about our future and I worry about the education decline in New Zealand. I want to be part of the solution rather than always barking from the sidelines, So I'm giving it a go. I want to be transparent with you about it, hence why I'm telling you this. I'm doing it because we just can't accept things as they are. We've got to strive for better. And when a child is failing in the state system and can't find a way through that state system, at least offer them some kind of option rather than the dole. Let them stay in education and get them on track for the next phase, whatever that may be.
Garner.
Okay, a lot of feedback coming in. Duncan says, talks, if boys are disconnected and if dad's home, guess whose fault? Yeah, well, it's dad, isn't it? Yeah. Now, we've found something, you think some school systems are bad. Check out how bad this is. This was it's a baseball game, isn't it? It's the big hit, whatever they call it. This is the American national anthem. It gets worse.
Stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly.
Oh, well, how come it stopped? Here it is. It gets worse. Play the whole thing.
And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, dear. Caleb, Forrester, you brought up in America?
Yeah, 11 years. 11 years in
Oh,
California.
give me a view of that. It wasn't good, was it?
No.
That was foul, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know what.
What was? Well, I mean, I saw some of the feedback on online. People were asking if she was on drugs or if she was wasted, or
Do you think someone turned her auto-tune off or something?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think auto-tune would have saved it in all
No.
fairness. You've got to be
Pitch it
in
up an
somewhat
octave.
of a tune to get to shift the tune to where you want it to be. That wasn't in any key
But
tune
how
or anything.
uncomfortable for the baseballers. They're there going. They got their hands on their heart, going, "Oh my goodness!"
One of the worst ones, I think it was NBA. Was that Fergie's one, Forrester?
If they're
Remember
Fergie.
that?
Yeah, that's the comparison people are making. I think.
They're saying that this is second to Fergie. It's still not as bad as that. But Forrester, if you were to try and sing the first line or two, how would you?
Oh,
go?
I couldn't.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
No. Yeah, we had to do it in school, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every morning.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Hey, good on you, Forrester. Bit of feedback coming in. Duncan, James said that this is why you're the man, Duncan, because you've been yourself and you're doing something you're passionate about. Yeah, that's what I'm doing with education. You got more feedback, Forrester?
Yeah, I do. I have a nephew that got through intermediate in Auckland and he could not read or write. It's got nothing to do with the schools. Go to the kids' houses and try and find a book, is what people are saying on TikTok.
Okay, here's the test. How many, this is the test for the school holidays, which we're in right now. How many of you have read a book this school holidays? And parents, if you listening or watching this, how many of you have made sure that your kids have read one book this holidays, this 2-week period? How many? I'll put my hand up. I haven't forced a book on any of my kids. There we go, I'm being honest. Have you? Troy says that he thinks that she's drunk. Well,
Yeah, I
got
wouldn't
some
be
attention.
surprised.
Yeah, got some
Maybe.
attention. Right, that's us, guys. This will be available as a podcast very shortly once Kalo lets his fingers do the walking on the computer, so that'll all be up wherever you get your podcast, also on Rover. I'm Duncan at rover.nz to get hold of me. Send us your feedback. Let us know what's on your mind. Thank you to my team, Miranda, Kalo, Forrester and Serena. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thank you for taking part. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for your interest. And remember, life's no dress rehearsal. No curtain raiser. This is it. We're in it right now. The real deal. Take care. Have a great day.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.